The open ocean, a mountain vista, the blank page, freedom to express, being heard and hearing others, an empty room, expansive fields, changing our mind, a beach that stretches as far as the eye can see, open space, openness. Jesus did not want anyone to know that he was in the area. Nevertheless, he could not escape notice. A woman immediately heard Jesus was in town and went to beg for healing for her daughter, who had an unclean spirit. Jesus' response to her request to cast the demon out of her daughter was, to be generous, kind of snippy. Let the children be fed first, Jesus says, for it is not fair to take the children's food and throw it to the dogs. Pretty snippy, actually. Other descriptions might be possible, anywhere from rude to downright offensive and pretty mean. Is Jesus really behaving so badly? Or is he satirically naming the attitude of his fellow Judeans towards a Syrophoenician, a Gentile woman? Is Jesus intentionally revealing an unholy division between peoples? Or does Jesus share the disdainful stance? Based simply on the words of the page, we can't know. We don't have stage notes with tone of voice noted. We just know that Jesus expresses the position of his community. One of the final papers that I had to write for my ministry degree was dubbed the position paper. The assignment required us to declare our position on a few specific theological areas, and then defend or discuss it with a small panel of professors. Some people questioned the assignment, wondering if taking a position at all was the right approach. The response of one of my professors turned out to be the one who had instigated the assignment years earlier. His response is stuck with me all these years. You have to take a position, he said, so that you can change it. Knowing our position is a prerequisite for changing our minds. And the position of Jesus' community was that God's grace is for God's people only. And having said it out loud to a woman with a young girl in need, Jesus claimed the position. The woman, though, responds to Jesus in an equally snippy way. Sir, she answers him, even the dogs under the table eat the children's crumbs. Instead of shrinking back, she talks back, in a way admired by us troublesome women throughout the ages. Whether real or simply to make a point, Jesus opens up with an openness of mind and an openness of heart. For saying that, he replies, you may go, the demon has left your daughter. And whether we think it's all a ploy to make a point or not, Jesus demonstrates God's grace and God's openness by changing his mind. And the woman returns home, finding her daughter is indeed healed. Jesus continues on his way, and people bring him a deaf man who has an impediment of speech. Like the woman, the people beg for healing. Jesus touches the man in prayer and commands, "Ephphatha," that is, be opened. And the man is immediately healed. His ears opened, his tongue released to speak plainly. One opening leads to another, from the woman to Jesus to a deaf man. There's something about openness, the open ocean, a mountain vista, the blank page, the freedom to express, being heard, hearing others, an empty room, expansive fields, changing our mind, a beach that stretches as far as the eye can see. There's something about openness that is both alluring and frightening. What if we get lost, turn the wrong way? And what if it's even more magical just around the next corner. A blank canvas cries for color and shape and form, and it can be hard to know where to start. Openness might be overwhelming or intimidating, something we seek or something we avoid. An open day with nothing scheduled, no responsibilities, no commitments, can be the ultimate in freedom and paralyzing impossibility. What if we use it badly, miss an opportunity, allow something unwanted to enter our minds, our hearts, our lives? Ephphatha, Jesus says, be opened, risk the change, receive the gift of healing. Later this fall, November 22nd and 23rd to be exact, you're invited to attend a parish retreat to consider in broad strokes who we are, where we might want to go together as a parish. We're just in the early stages of planning, so a more specific and concise kind of theme statement is still being developed. You can expect to hear more in the weeks and months to come, but please put the date in your calendar now and plan to attend. A small group has done some preliminary work with the facilitator, the Very Reverend Peter Elliott, who is the retired Dean of Christ Church Cathedral in the Diocese of New Westminster. Through him, we're learning about a process known as open space, and it seems to fit well our needs. Open space technology is a simple way to run remarkably productive meetings, describes the website Open Space World. It goes on to explain open space as a powerful approach to living, learning, leadership, and transformation in any kind of organization or community, in everyday practice and turbulent change. Open space runs on passion-bounded responsibility. It's a pretty interesting phrase, passion-bounded responsibility. Feels both heartfelt and boundaried. Each participant is allowed and challenged, the website describes, to maximize their own learning and contribution toward the accomplishment of important shared goals. Open space meetings are self-organizing in that the participants themselves develop the agenda and the specific topics at the beginning of the gathering in relationship to the overall theme. It is both freedom and responsibility, and it might be as intimidating and exhilarating as any such openness implies. As quickly as the formerly deaf man's ears were opened and tongue released, Jesus tries to put the genie back in the bottle, so to speak, to restrain the man and his friends once again, ordering them to tell no one. It doesn't work. The more he ordered them, the story says, the more zealously they proclaimed it. The miracle of healing, the experience of openness, expands and transforms beyond what we can ask or imagine, and yearns to be shared. This is the hope for our parish retreat, and indeed for all of our parish life, that we will be opened again and again, and that it will be impossible for us to keep quiet about the work that God is doing among us.